Hello, so we're going to look at our reading identity notebooks. So this is located in the fantastic fifth grade Google Classroom. I am going to go to classwork, and you can use the navigation bar on the left to go to reading and vocabulary. And it is going to be close to the bottom. It's almost the last post that says reading identity notebook, and it has 10:9 in front of it. So I'm just going to go to the actual notebook and give you an idea of what it looks like. So I'm now in my document, and this is the cover page. On the cover page, there will be a place for your name to go. It is already set, it's set to say fifth grade. This right here is our Padlet bulletin board anchor charts. So all of our anchor charts from our lessons will be posted here. And then the last thing on this front page is teaching books. So this allows you to see book previews of books that you think you might want to read, and also you can search for books on there. So the username and password are both CPS, all lowercase, and everyone has access to this account across the district. So let's look at the first section. So the yellow tab up here, the to be read reading list. So use your to be read list to write down potential titles you may want to read. So this is just something you might want to read in the future, a listing of it. So if we look at it, it's just a log of books. So the titles, the author, genre, and then if you read it or if you abandoned it. So you have to come back over to this section once you're done with the book and say if you read it from the beginning to the end or if you abandoned it. So this will be a really nice listing that you'll have for yourself, and you can keep it and use it again next year and go back through and see if there's books that you might want to revisit if you abandon them. So the next section is about the reading goals and surveys. So as far as our reading goals go, you are to read at least 20 books this school year. Um, if you already know that you will read at least 20 books, you can set a higher goal, but you need to have at least 20 books to read. So if this makes you feel nervous, I'm here to support. So you can stop in during office hours. You can, and we can discuss about book options. Also, some things that go over how books are going to be counted. So books with more than 300 pages count as two books. Books with more than 500 pages count as three books. And books with more than 800 pages, see me. So we will need to discuss those books if it's higher. Audiobooks and graphic novels count as well. Books can also books that can also count as more if they are in a different language than your home language. Um, so if your home language is English, but the book is in Spanish or Cantonese, then you can read that book as well. Have a harder vocabulary than you typically read. Have harder or a new genre or format for you. So if you're reading play versus prose, that would be another option, and or pose some other challenge that we can discuss. So your first goal will last for the first 6 weeks of school. When you meet your goal, set a new one. This is meant to challenge you as a reader. So find a goal that makes sense for you. Wow, how much you read is important. So are developing good reading habits. So what might make a great reading challenge for yourself? You could read longer books than you normally do. You could try new genres, try new formats, read harder vocabulary level books, start actually reading and grow your like of reading. Compare and contrast texts of the same genre, read beyond your own experience. So that is part of like looking at someone else's perspective. So reading a book based in another country or based around another culture. Books that mirror your own experience. So books that are set in Chicago, books that have characters that identify with the same gender or same ethnicity as you. Slow down your reading to take in more detail. And then what else could you think of? So if there's something else, another challenge that's not listed, then you can talk to me about it. So within this reading challenge portion, there's also a reading survey. So these are meant to have you reflect on your life as a reader. So reading is, how would you describe it? I read because. So what are some of the reasons you read? Is it to calm yourself? Is it because it's an assignment? Why do you read? So the next page is continuing those reading habits and questions about that. Where do you typically get books from? Do you read outside of school? Why or why not? And then what's a book that I should read? Okay, let's look at the next portion. This is where you're actually going to put your goals down. So, goal one, your dates for your goal, that should be within the first quarter. My goal for the first 6 weeks is, and then I choose this goal because. So, explain to me why you chose that goal. And we're going to keep going to the next section. So, these goal sheets keep going as I'm like scrolling through. So there's a lot of places to write your goals. And then there's a reflection piece at the end. So did you meet your goal? If no, why not? If yes, why? How did you working on this goal help me as a reader? This is the next section about who I am as a reader. So this pink section talks about who are you as a reader for quarter one. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 feeling awful, 10 feeling amazing, how would you rank your reading? And then, why did you pick this rating? And who are you as a reader? So, most of this reading identity notebook is really your reading identity, getting to know who you are as a reader. And then finally, this part right here is collecting reading data. So this ties it all together for the first four sections of the book, of this notebook. So this is where you would collect your reading data. So you would post the books that you're reading. How much did you read every week? And then how challenging was this for you? So let's look back over here where it says reading data. So every week you'll make an estimate of how much you read. This can be based on number of books you finish, pages, how much time. So some type of measurement, some type of metric for tracking your reading. And then these keep going for every quarter. So you're putting in there how you performed as a reader. The last part is the accountability portion. So, this is the part where you can pick a project to display what you read and talk about your book. So, three of the projects are public and three are private. So, the private activities all occur within this digital notebook. So, adding book covers is the first one. So the accountability example here, so there's a book and then there's a response below of why you should read it. So it's just a short review and recommendation format. The next one is a public option, and this is a Padlet. So on this portion, you would uh, produce either a written piece or a recording on Padlet, posting what book you finished and a short review of that book without revealing any spoilers. Write It Down is another one. This section will talk about the impact that the book had on you. So it is a text connection response, and you are to write the title, the author, the page number, and the impact that that particular portion had on you. The next two options are public. One is a book talk on Flipgrid. So this is like our video feature where it's similar to like Instagram where you post a book talk. I have some guided questions there available to you. And then the next one is a podcast episode where you can record yourself talking about your book. Just something very short, a few minutes. No more than 10, I would say, um, just because podcasts aren't supposed to be super long, but you're talking about your book, and I provided a guide to assist you with that, and it is linked in blue. So, following this guide. And then the next one is a private response. The final one is a book recommendation, and you would do that in this section. And so in this section, read all about it. You should read, and then you tell me why I should read this book. So very similar to the one that you have to put the book cover on, but there's no book cover with this one. And then the last one is your idea. So if there's something that listed and you really want to do it, just run this idea by me during office hours and we can discuss what your idea is. But this is a walk through your digital identity notebook. Please take a look through it. And if you have questions, ask me in class.